So, like I said, I'm videoing myself for the absent people. Okay? What?
The camera? Where's the camera?
It's right here. It's just recording me. What? So, like I said, think of a party. The party didn't say for the video. Think of a party you went to. It can be from whenever, maybe just a memorable party. Okay? All right. Título. What's título? Más voluntarios diferentes? Don't know Spanish already? Danny? A title. Now, the title says ortografía, if you want to write that down. Spelling counts for a point. Grammatica, grammar. Of course, you don't have to write that down. Now, when I say grammar, I'm talking about stuff that you should know already. Like adjective stuff and stuff like using no apostrophes. If you use an apostrophe, that's a whole point off. Now, descripción buena, a good description. Now, when I got to writing this, initially I was going to say, let me position this way. Initially I was going to say, oh, mi fiesta de cumpleaños de 40 años. That was going to be my title. My 40th birthday party.
How long ago
At
was
Mayo. I thought, I'm going to be a little more creative. I'm going to say something a little bit different than that. So I'm going to say, ay caramba. Like, for heaven's sakes, 40, 40, It's not a sentence, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be a sentence, your title. It can be whatever you want.
Oh, damn.
Ay caramba, 40.
That's what that means.
Or it's also for heaven's sakes.
Oh, damn.
All right. Okay, so just good description. It doesn't have to be a super good description. My point is, don't say something like fiesta. Just party. No, come on. It needs to be better than that. All right. ¿Qué significa? Número 2. ¿A dónde fuiste? Gato? Where did you go? Now, in the question should indicate what tense you're supposed to be using. Now, let me stop for a minute here. When you're writing, remember, verbs are the hardest thing. When you're writing, what do you always start with? What form of the verb? You always start with the what? Voluntario. The infinitivo. And unless you want to write this down, I guess you can. You always start with the infinitive. That's your first step. ¿Dónde está? Okay? All right. And then, ¿dónde estás? Dos. Then the big thing about this project is it preterite or imperfect. By the way, this is a test grade. This is a test. That's the big question. Is it preterite or imperfect? That's what we've been studying. And then the conjugation, of course. And then you got to consider all those irregulars. Okay? This question, the words in the question should help you with your answer. Okay? This says, ¿a dónde fuiste? I'm not giving away the tense. I'm not saying, hey guys, what tense should you use here? I'm not going to do that. That's what they're being graded on. All right, describe cuál fue el acontecimiento. What was the event? Like, what was it? So if you got to describe it a little bit more in detail, you got to do that. And notice it says una frase. Now, I didn't come right out and say, hey, I went to my 40th birthday party. As long as you answer the question, then you're good. My friend Matt threw me a 40th birthday party at his house. So, I don't have to just say, I went to my friend Matt's house for my 40th birthday party. As long as you can word it how you want. As long as you include where it was. My friend Matt threw me a 40th birthday, and I actually forgot to say where it was, so I screwed that up, actually. So that's a ... I put little notes just for me to explain things to you. My friend Matt threw me, direct object pronoun, a birthday party, 40th birthday party at his house. Now, let's talk about the points. Each verb's a point. 2 points. If let's say you picked the wrong tense, you picked the imperfect tense, but it should have been preterite tense, but you still conjugated the verb right. Well, then you're not going to lose all the 2 points. You'll just lose 1 point. And then, but if you picked the wrong tense and you conjugated the wrong tense wrong, then it is minus 2 points per verb. Point. I'm not going to go over all these each time. It's about the same. 1 point for spelling, point for grammar. Now that's stuff we've learned before. If it's something we've never learned before, then I'm not going to take points off for that. And then a good description. Yeah, and that one really counts here. Not just, I went to a party. I went to a party at my friend's house. Like for what? Like what was it for? Like a party for what? Okay, so a good description. That's why it says, what was the event? Okay? All right, so I'm not going to keep going over what the points are for. They're almost the same for every one of them. Describe los adornos. Describe the what? Adornos? Jacob? The decorations. O el escenario, or just the scene, the scenery. So, like I said, I'm going to be giving little tips here and there about what tense this is, if you're listening. There was. That's the title of this chapter we've been doing. Like, there was a time. Could also mean there were. They had is another thing you could say. Or just was in general. Notice that's 2 sentences. Okay, so does that sound like, oh, there was, what did I write? There were a lot of balloons and confetti. Does that sound like a one-time thing? Like a one-time, I ate a sandwich? No, obviously. So that should indicate what tense that should be if you're describing a scene. So if you want to put little notes over here, like for yourself, oh, imp or pret. Or here, yeah. Okay, because I'm kind of giving you some little tips here. There were a lot of balloons and confetti. They had colorful tablecloths. And I made a little note for myself here. Was, just in general, the house was very beautiful. You just wanted to say was, say that too, rather than there was. All right. Moving on to, I'm going to stop.